Hello there and welcome. The Zionist aggression against the Gaza Strip has entered its 33rd day amid sustained air, land and sea attacks on various areas of the besieged Gaza Strip, with a death toll that exceeds 10,569 with tens of thousands injured. United Nations repeatedly confirmed that Gaza Strip's hospitals will not be able to withstand for a long time, noting that half of the hospitals are out of service due to the cessation of electricity generators and ambulances. This comes at a time when U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stressed that the United States rejects the forced displacement of Palestinians now and even in the future, and also rejects the continuation of the siege on Gaza or even the occupation of parts of it. To this point, several queries come to the scene. Is there a real intention by the Zionist occupation and the U.S. administration to cease fire and allow humanitarian aid through? And to what extent will Hamas resistance keep its stand in the face of the Zionist army invading the Strip? Beforehand, we put our questions on the table of discussion. Let's take a short break and we start our debate. So before we delve into our discussion, I'm honored to present our guest platform for this show, which consists of Mr. Mustafa Rajab, Chair of the Egyptian Association in Europe from London, and Mr. Jalal Silmi, Regional and International Affairs Researcher from Istanbul, Turkey. Also, Mr. Mohammed Jamal, Professor of Political Science and International Relations from Algeria, Galma State. And later on, we will be joined with Mr. Bilal Saab, Director of Defense and Security Program at Middle East Institute from Washington. So, Mr. Jamal, before I direct my question to you, I will read this piece of information and I'll be starting with you. Al-Qassam Brigades, the military wing of Islamic resistance movement Hamas, announced the destruction of 2 Zionist tanks in southwest Gaza City with 2 Al-Yashin 105 shells. Al-Qassam Brigades also revealed that a Zionist soldier was shot in a Tawam area and was immediately injured. Al-Qassam Brigades also had previously confirmed the launch of rockets salvo towards the so-called Greater Tel Aviv as a response to the massacres against civilians, as they put it. Now, I'll be starting with Mr. Mohammed Jamal here from Algeria, waiting our honored guests to be ready for the show. Mr. Jamal, despite the human tragedies and the deteriorating health and medical situation, the Palestinians, particularly Gazans, are steadfast and prepared to remain in their homeland until death comes to door in sacrifice for this land. Therefore, how long can they resist in face of this inhuman bombing?
Hello, thank you so much for hosting me. Welcome. I think that the Gaza citizens will resist more in this tragedy. The Israeli occupation is known by its war crimes.
And I'm sure the rest of the world have the same issues, but you can see that this war in Gaza is not a war with Hamas. It's a war that they're demolishing a town with its residents. I see pictures that make me really sick. It's sickening to see children shaking, bleeding. It's sickening to see the number of people in hospital cannot get any treatment. It is just unbelievable. It's a shame in all the government in the world to watch this. And the sad thing is that you can see now some Arab countries are supporting what's happening in Israel. It's shocking to see the Gulf countries and Saudi Arabia supporting this action and saying they've got the right to defend themselves. There is a lot of dirty work that is happening behind the scene, a lot of dirty work. But you can say and do whatever you want. What is right is right, what is wrong is wrong. You need to know that the whole world is not agreeing, is not approving of what is happening. Everyone is against everything happening in Gaza. This is genocide. This is, I just can't describe it. How can you watch this crime happening? How can you?
I got the idea, Mr. Rajab.
I want to ask a question. Those children who are going to grow up, how are they going to be like?
They're going to be Hamas militants. They're going to be Hamas soldiers.
They're going to love the world. They're going to love the people. They're going to hate everybody. They got to think of that. They are producing terrorists. They are producing terrorists. This is what I say here with a loud voice to all the officials. You are producing terrorists.
Thank
Those
you so
young
much.
children, people will grow up to get the revenge of the whole world. The whole world is watching.
Thank you, Mr.
Those people
Rajab. Thank you. I do really strongly agree with this idea, and it was one of our questions that I already got you with. They are now kind of creating the next generation of Hamas and any other factions, because it's quite logical. Mr. Mohammed, I hope you are now with us, clearly, in voice and picture as well. Former Zionist Prime Minister Olmert stated that Netanyahu suffered a nervous breakdown and has become a danger to his so-called country. Does this mean that the Zionist top officials don't share the same orientations than Netanyahu? Now, people are against Netanyahu inside the state.
Thanks a lot for this excellent question. The Israeli were always divided between military or civilians, not inside Israel. I want really to note that according to recent poll conducted by European Union institutions, it was about who threatens the Europe security. So we find that 65% of European populations responds by saying it's Israel, not Palestine or Iran or another state in the region. The second point that I want to say that there has been a slight decline also in the U.S. position, and this is answered today by Blinken, and this is thanks to the pressure of international public opinion, which has not stopped protesting against the terrorism of the Zionist entity.
Quite interesting. Now, let's hear again Abu Ubaidah on this clip. On the hostages file, Abu Ubaidah stressed that the only solution consists in a deal on a full or a total exchange of prisoners. He also accused the Zionist entity of being the one who hinders efforts to release detainees and foreigners and puts their lives in danger.
إن ملف الأسرى لا يزال حاضرا لدينا في تفاصيل هذه المعركة.
The hostages file is still embedded in the details of this battle. We reaffirm that the only path to solve this issue is a deal on a full or partial exchange of prisoners.
بشكل شامل أو مجزأ.
Mr. Mustafa, before talking about the detainees and hostages, the head of the political bureau of the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas, Haniya, confirmed that the entity's policy is to displace population of Gaza Strip from north to south, mainly outside Gaza. However, the first and the second stages do so have failed. Do you think that the Zionist government, Mr. Mustafa, will continue to apply pressure on Gazans to leave?
Oh, definitely. That is the plan. That is the plan. And they have this, as I said before, 12 years ago, they were offering a lot of money for Egypt to build a place for people from Gaza to live in the Sinai Desert. And that offer was rejected by the Egyptian government. So now they came back and repeated it before this Gaza conflict and was again rejected. So what I'm worried about is that they manage. I've heard a lot of encouraging things from the people in Gaza. They're not going to leave their town. But you may have a few people who will go south and they will end up at the Egyptian border. And that will be a very difficult decision here. Because if you allow those people into Egypt, you are helping to finish with the Palestinian issue. You are helping to destroy whatever left of the Palestinian issue. Because what is left from the Palestinian is Gaza. Because you can't say the West Bank is Palestinian. They are controlled by the Israeli. They invading their places every night. They are arresting people every night. They shooting people every day. They just live in hell. So you cannot say this is part of Palestine. The only part that left to Palestine is Gaza. So once they finish with Gaza, they finish with the whole issue of Palestine. And now the Americans have got no problem in the Middle East. They got rid of all the Palestinians in Palestine. So this is what I fear, that it might end up with some people at the Egyptian border, and then they will make Egypt look like the people who don't want to help the Palestinian people. If they do, then they're really helping the Palestinian people. They're helping the Israeli to finish with the Palestinian conflict. So this could develop. These things can develop later on to a different problem. So let's wait and see what will happen. But I'm very pleased to see the resistance in Gaza. I'm very pleased to hear and see some clips. We don't see a lot, but we see some encouraging clips from the resistance in Gaza. So hopefully this will, we hear that there will be a ceasefire shortly for humanitarian reason. I hope this will happen, because can you imagine anybody living with no water, no food, no medicine? It's just unbelievable. These people should be stand trial. They should be stand trial for this international crime that they're committing against people, against schools, against hospitals, against everybody. There's nothing secret now. Everybody's watching this on the TV 24/7. Everybody's seeing this on social media, and you see clips coming from important people against that, people raising their voice against what's happening. You can see in the United Nations what happened. You can see in England a lot of people raising their voice. You can see all over the world people objecting to what is happening. But the superpower, they don't give a lot of care or a lot of damn about people. They want to do what they want to do. They want to finish with the Palestinian conflict by kicking those people out of Gaza. And then they might bring Abbas and saying he's the prime minister of Palestine, and pretend that they will have a Palestine. There's a lot of things, a lot of scenarios that you can think of. But at the end of the day, I hope that the people in Gaza will stand and resist and not give up, despite over 10,000 people being killed. I've seen a clip yesterday of 2 children. One of them was just like 2 years old, shaking hands and legs, and his older brother, who was about 4 years, trying to put his hands on his legs to stop him shaking. And this boy got blood in his hands, blood on his face, and his brother is the same thing. It is sickening to see these scenes, and people are still supporting the government, not people, supporting the action of the Israeli people in Gaza. This is a shame on all the superpower who's just going on and on to achieve what they want, and what their goal is to get rid of every Palestinian living in Palestine.
Right. It's really unspeakable feelings that we do have. It's really something that we do not... I'm sorry how to say this, but I'm not Palestinian to feel what they feel, but it's something out of debate. Before coming to you, Mr. Mohammed, I know that you do have a military background, Mr. Mohammed, as my colleague has told me. So what are you talking about Hamas' strategy in confronting one of the greatest armies in the world, as they claim? Have you got the idea, Mr. Mohammed? Mr. Mohammed Jamal, do you hear me? Okay, he's not getting the question. I believe there is also a technical problem. So now we will be moving to another one. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that Zionists cannot occupy Gaza or displace residents of the besieged Palestinian enclave relentlessly bombed by the Zionist military for the past month. He also rejected the continuation of the siege on Gaza or the occupation of parts of it. Let's hear it.
The United States believes key elements should include no forcible displacement of Palestinians from Gaza. Not now, not after the war. No use of Gaza as a platform for terrorism or other violent attacks. No reoccupation of Gaza after the conflict ends. No attempt to blockade or besiege Gaza. No reduction in the territory of Gaza.
Mr. Mustafa, White House National Security Advisor John Kirby said it is logical for the Zionist entity to manage the security situation in Gaza. On the other side, U.S. State Department, through the voice of Secretary Antony Blinken, is calling to stop the siege on Gaza and stop occupying Gaza. How can you sort out this contradiction between the two officials? Doesn't indicate that there are splits of ideas inside the U.S. administration over the ongoing war in Gaza?
Well, Blinken himself not long ago said something completely different. So I do not listen to politicians. Politicians will say different things according to what is happening on the ground. So they are obviously have one aim and one aim only: get rid of the people who live in Gaza. So whatever they say, they don't want to control. They don't have any aims to govern Gaza. They don't have the. I don't listen to any of this because I can only see what is happening on the ground. Genocide. You destroy, you wiping off a town. And if you tell me you're fighting Hamas, do you need all those American warships, British warships, Japan? Do you really all this to fight Hamas? Where is Hamas? They're not fighting Hamas. They are killing innocent civilian people. So this is all lies. What they're doing is they wiping a town off the ground. They are killing people. These people should stand trial for the war crime they are committing every day. Politicians, I never listen to them because they can say something today and tomorrow they say something completely different. Or one will say one thing and the other will say something completely different. We call it contradicting. No, they say different things all the time. So I don't really listen to what they say. What I listen to is what my eyes can see on the ground. Blinken been going around the Middle East. I think he's got his wardrobe in the plane now because he is here today, there, tomorrow, everywhere, trying to get things happening. And he did manage to get some countries to support them. But obviously there is other countries who are opposing what's happening. And we have to look that at the end of the day, if this what they want happen, that will be a shame on the whole world to witness this war crime happening and witness these people getting killed. 10,000, over 10,000. Can you believe it? I mean, when you say Hamas committed this thing on the 7th of October, what happened to what the crime Israel committed since 1948? Where was the world? Why nobody said the Palestinians got the right to defend themselves?
Interesting. All right.
Why? 1948 crimes committed every day, burning houses, kicking people out, taking lands, doing whatever they want. Nobody.
And unfortunately, no one see that. Yes, Mr. Mustafa.
Nobody
But
said the Palestinians
once
got the right to
Hamas
defend
do an
themselves.
action, all the world see that. Unfortunately, this is the double standards of the world. Before we continue with you, Mr. Mustafa, let me read for you this information also on John Kirby on the other side. On the other hand, U.S. National Security John Kirby stated that his government is not ready to support a ceasefire in Gaza.
We do not believe that a ceasefire is the right answer right now. We believe that a ceasefire right now benefits Hamas. And Hamas is the only one that would gain from that right now, as Israel continues to prosecute their operations against Hamas leadership.
Mr. Mustafa, as I have already mentioned, the first contradiction between the two statements of the two top officials, another contradiction we see in the statements of Blinken and John Kirby. Why the first one, Blinken, supports the humanitarian pause to enter food and medicine in Gaza? The second one, John Kirby, is saying that a ceasefire is not an option at the right moment. It will serve Hamas' interests more than any. So, what's your take on this?
Obviously, I can see that some people have got affected personally with the scenes in Gaza. So they may agree to something that the other people will not agree to it. That's what we're seeing now. Obviously, we can see that some people were very strongly against Gaza and Hamas and everything. But now we can see the tone of voice have changed a little from what they've seen. Some people still have this strong view that no, we'll no ceasefire until we wipe off the whole town. I mean, we can see that nearly 50% of Gaza is being wiped off. So whether we do a ceasefire now or not, half of the town is being wiped off. So what we're looking at, we wait until we destroy the other half, and then we say ceasefire. I mean, these people entitled to live, for God's sake. These people entitled for the minimum of human rights. Water, food, and medicine. This is the minimum. I mean, how is those people surviving? How are those people surviving with no water? And what health condition after this war these people will be in? What disease? What illness? How are you going to deal with this? How are you going to treat these people? How long will it take to get these people standing on their feet again? You're looking at a huge problem. Big problem. But people not thinking of all this now. They're just thinking of what they want. They want people out of Gaza. That's it. Go out of Gaza and we will bring you back when we finish fighting Hamas. Why do you don't fight Hamas? Where is Hamas? Where are they fighting Hamas? I mean, let's face the truth. Let's face the truth. They are killing innocent people. Nothing else. Children, women, old people, young people. We see the hospital, we see people, how many people in the same bed in hospital, how many people on the floor, the bodies. It's such disgusting. It's just the history will never forgive these people. History will have this wound for a long time. Everybody is suffering. I mean, not just the people in Gaza. People are suffering mentally all over the world. There's a lot of mental health issues now we're going to deal with. There's a lot of things involving this war, not just in Gaza. Gaza, yes, is the main focus, but there is a lot of people affected badly all over the world. Mm-hmm. And we just hope that the outcome of this war, it won't be very bad around the whole world. How many people will suffer? How many people will grow up to remember this wound, to remember these crimes, to remember this pain? It's just unbelievable. If I can carry on forever talking about this pain and this war and these people, the children, for God's sake. I mean, when I watch here on the TV in England every day, they're bringing a man every single day to talk about his daughter who is being kidnapped and being taken as hostage. It's her birthday. She doesn't know even her birthday. That's his daughter. I mean, how many thousands of children in Gaza cannot find a drop of water? But the media war is really working very hard to get people's opinion to support what's happening. Mm-hmm. But people are not daft. People can get the resource from other sources. The social media now is full of articles, is full of clips that everyone can see the truth. Everyone can see what's happening.
And I definitely agree with you on every idea you have already mentioned. And just an hour before I entered the studio, I watched an interview of an American doctor, just comes out from Gaza through Rafah. She said that I wish I can die with the courage of Gazans when I reach the end of my life. Mr. Mustafa, thank you so much for taking part with us in this show. I'm sorry we do have limited time. Also, a special thanks to our guests, that some of them could join us and others they could not. To this end, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking part with us in Debate Hour. For more updates, follow our social media platform. And for now, take care of yourself and good night.